Hi, I'm Isabel, and here we talk about all things art, art, lifestyle, art journey, and creativity. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I have been learning recently, or maybe relearning is the better word, and it is stress management for artists. I have, in the last 2.5, almost 3 months, launched a small business for my artwork, spent a lot more time creating art, designing products, working on marketing, all of the things that are necessary. And while I've been working on my business, I've also been working part time at my job that I've held for the last 2 years. And I have been working on my master's degree in business administration. And this is not a choice I would recommend to people is having this many things all on your plate at once, especially while trying to get your business off the ground. So, one of the things I've been struggling with is stress management. There's a lot of stress whenever you look at your business finances and you realize you have to get this to pay for itself and you need to do it soon. And there's just a lot of stress behind trying to get your business off the ground, trying to get your stuff in front of the people who are actually going to buy it, trying to provide value and calculate pricing. There's a lot of stress behind all of this. So, some of the things that have helped me manage my stress as an emerging artist, I'm going to talk about today. The first one is fuel your body. Stress, I'm sure you know this if you've lived any amount of time, stress affects our bodies. I was a psychology major in undergrad and I took a lot of classes that were very biology, physiology, neurology related, a lot more medical psychology than like social psychology. And I really loved all of those sciency classes about how the body works, how hormones work, and we talked all about stress and we talked about the damaging effects of stress on our bodies and the lack of sleep and all of these things and how it really can make you sick literally. And one of my classes we talked about how if you are sleep deprived up to a certain extent, your body actually has the same responses and issues that a body does whenever someone's drunk. And just sleep deprivation can do that to you. Stress is extremely negative when it goes uncontrolled for a long time. It really can hurt your body. So, the biggest stress management tip I can say is fuel your body. What I mean by this is get good sleep. I know it might feel like you have so many things you need to do. Sleep is not going to actually pay you. Sleep is not actually going to move you forward in your goals. But you cannot do anything about your goals if you cannot move yourself around. If you cannot actually cognitively function to do the things, you're going to hurt yourself in the long run if you neglect sleep in the immediate current time. Bugs attacking me, sorry. Um, so fuel your body. Get sleep. Work out. Our bodies need to move. And I've found that whenever you work out, there's actually endorphins that release in your body, and it can help your body cope with stress. There's so many afternoons that I'm working on things. I worked all day on my to-do list and it just doesn't seem to be getting any shorter. And I get so overwhelmed and my brain starts to get foggier and foggier, and I'm staring at my textbook for my accounting class or whatever it is, and I'm not making sense of it anymore. And typically at that point I know, okay, it's time for me to stop and go work out. And I'll work out, and it's like a huge reset for the rest of my day. My brain comes back fresher, my body feels better. It really does help with stress when you work out your body. So I would suggest if you don't work out, that's okay. You can start. It's not necessarily about losing weight or looking perfect or whatever. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. Just move your body so that you can be healthy and so you can deal with your stress. So that's probably the biggest thing. With fueling your body, make sure you're putting into your body things that are good for your body. So, like maybe less junk food, maybe more fruits and veggies. I know this is like what your doctor probably told you as a kid, but it's so important for your brain to get the right nutrition and nutrients that it needs to function. How can you expect your brain and your body to get done all of the things on your to-do list well if you haven't given it the fuel you need? You wouldn't expect your car to take you 3 hours away without putting any fuel in it at all. You would make sure it's filled up with fuel. You'd make sure your car's functioning right. You'd make sure your tires are good, especially on longer road trips. I know for us Texans, 2 to 3 hours isn't that long. But you would make sure your car is ready to go. So we can't forget to make sure our bodies are ready to go. It's actually really important and helpful in stress management. Okay, the second thing is fueling your mind. This one I feel like is maybe even harder in today's day and age. There are so many things that are trying to influence us, whether it's TV, social media, our friends, our coworkers, our every environment that we have, our friend groups, everything. And not all of it's good for us. A lot of stress starts and festers in our minds because we sit on it and we overthink it and we don't necessarily cope with it in healthy ways. So just know that whatever you're putting into your mind, whatever you're consuming, whether it's music or scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or podcasts or gossipy conversations, whatever it is, whatever you're putting into your ears, your eyes, your mind, it's going to sit there and fester. And it can either be helpful for you or it can be harmful for you. And I don't really think there's much in between. It's either good or bad. And whenever it comes to stress, I feel like our minds can get under attack really easy under stress. And it's really easy to self-doubt and be discouraged and overthink and then go to negative thoughts and then just mellow and marinate in negativity, all because it got into our minds. So be mindful of what you're consuming. Maybe spend less time consuming online content. I know this is ironic. If you're watching this on YouTube. It's online, but hopefully this content is helpful and not harmful for you. Just be mindful of what are you consuming? How are you spending your time? Are you choosing to sit and scroll when you have a moment break? Or are you choosing to sit and put on worship music and listen to something positive and practice being thankful, practice gratitude for today? Are you practicing making meaningful connections with your friends and family, checking on them and serving them? What are you doing to either fuel your mind in healthy ways or to fuel your mind in negative ways? I find this one is a bit more preventative for stress management. Honestly, yeah, it is. If you have fueled your mind really well before the stress comes, it's easier to deal with the stress. So basically, always fuel your mind well because you never know when stress is going to hit. That's a big one that I would suggest and that I've been working on doing myself is both of these, feeling my body and my mind, making sure that I'm prioritizing that and I'm doing it well without turning it into idolatry at all. There's no need to worship yourself to do this, but it is good to be mindful of what we're consuming and what we're doing. Okay, the next thing, there's only two more. I've only got four. Okay, the next thing is prioritizing. But don't just prioritize what's most important. Prioritize based on your goals and values. If you have a long to-do list like me, it can be really hard to decide, okay, what do I do first? What's okay to push off to the next day? How do I decide? There are days when it seems like everything on my list absolutely has to get done. It's so important. And it might be true that they're all important. But that's when we have to go back to our goals and our values. So if you haven't thought through what your values and your goals are, I encourage you to sit down and really think about it, maybe journal it out. Spend some time thinking about what are your real goals as a person, as an artist, as a small business owner, as whatever you are, whatever roles you have in life, whether it's motherhood or you're a teacher, whatever it is. What are your goals in that? What do you, at the end of your life, when you are retiring, what do you want to look back and say, I've done this? You're not really going to care if you got your bulletin board exactly right every year in your classroom. You're probably more likely to care about having impacted children and made them know that they were absolutely loved and supported their education, helped them reach their dreams. That's probably more aligned with your goals, or it would be my goal more if I was a teacher, which I'm not, but if I was. Um, Whenever we start from our goals and our values, it can help us see our to-do list and make it prioritize much better. It gives us a better perspective. Whereas if we just look at the to-do list and try to prioritize, it can feel like everything needs to be top of the list priority when you really can't have everything at top of the list priority. You're going to just overwhelm yourself more. So, prioritization, goals, values, super important in stress management. Again, it's kind of preventative, but also in the middle of your stress, you may need to slow down a little more. That goes to our last one, okay? My last tip here is really challenging. They all kind of coincide together, actually. This one is, I've titled it productive/active rest. This is challenging in today's day and age because a lot of times whenever we think about rest, we think laying on the couch scrolling on our phones. And yeah, at the surface, that might be restful. But is that actually going to refresh your soul? Is that actually going to make you, when you get up, feel rejuvenated, like you rested? I don't think so. It's never felt that way for me. So I would encourage you to think about how can you be active or productive with your rest. If sitting and scrolling is not actually going to make you feel refreshed at the end of it, don't do it. If going and taking a nap for 30 minutes is going to help you to be refreshed and tackle the rest of your things better, go do that. If you need to stop and call a friend and chat for an hour and that's going to make you feel refreshed, do it. If you need to spend time, I don't know, reorganizing your room and not thinking about any of your to-do list, and that's going to make you feel refreshed at the end of it, do that. I think there is a danger whenever we go to the passive rest of just sitting and scrolling. We're just mind numbing. We're really not resting. Your brain is hyperactive whenever that's happening, actually, and it's even more exhausting for your body. Anxiety spikes, and stress is just kind of masked for a few minutes, and it's not actually dealt with. So be mindful of how you're resting. Take your time to rest when you need it, but choose things that are actually going to refresh you. Okay, those are my tips for stress management for artists, but I think they apply to everybody. So let me know, what's your favorite tip that I gave? And what are some things I may have left out that you think would be great stress management tips as well? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day. Bye.